Grocery prices have skyrocketed. Cereals are up 26%.
At least try to hide the fact that you're reading. Look, he's like struggling to read. Look at him.
Bread is up 24%. Butter is up 37%. Baby formula is up 30%. Flour is up 38%. And eggs are up 46%. And many items are...
Is this all coming off the top? This is impressive. Is Donald Trump just freestyling all of this?
Up at much higher rates than that. Now Kamala is reportedly proposing communist price controls. She wants price controls. And if they worked, I'd go along with it too, but they don't work. They actually have the exact opposite impact. And
the communists aren't voting for VP Harris. I'm sorry, but the communists in America are usually the ones that say that VP Harris and President Biden are like the same as Trump, but she's not a communist.
But it leads to food shortages, rationing, hunger, dramatically more inflation. Their Inflation Reduction Act, by the way, was a disaster. It's what caused the inflation. Their Inflation Reduction Act was a con job. They actually admitted that it wasn't really for inflation that they did it. They don't know why they did it.
Why does he just talk?
They named it the Inflation Reduction Act, which was a very nice name. Got approved based on that. Unfortunately, people didn't understand it. I understood it. I said that's going to...
They passed the Inflation Reduction Act after inflation had already started. Donald Trump just made the claim that inflation was caused by the IRA. Also, what is up with this color palette that Trump always uses? It's always a red tie, red and blue. I guess that's my color palette.
It caused tremendous inflation, and
he stole it
among
from
other things like energy. She's running on the Maduro plan. We call it the Maduro plan, like something straight out of Venezuela or the Soviet Union. This announcement is an admission that her economic policies have totally failed and caused really a catastrophe for our country. And beyond that, a catastrophe in the world. A little bit unrelated, but not totally unrelated. We have wars breaking out in the Middle East. We have the horrible war going on with Ukraine and Russia. All these things would have never happened if I was president. Would have never, ever happened.
Not true.
And they didn't happen.
They did.
Since Harris...
Ukraine got annexed, or Crimea, sorry, got annexed in 2014 under Obama. Donald Trump did nothing while he was in office for 4 years. He always postures and said that he would be super rough on Putin. Russia was occupying Crimea while Trump was in office.
Car insurance is up 55%, and they just announced it's going to be substantially higher. Abolish very popular private health insurance, which 150 Americans rely on, dumping everyone onto inferior socialist government-run healthcare systems with rationing and deadly wait times while massively raising your taxes. She wants to take away your private health.
This guy genuinely can't read. This is like the dude in class that can't read and he's struggling. He's looking down at the paper. I mean, dude, and why is there Folgers coffee and honey bunch of oats over here on the side? What the hell? Anyone have an explanation?
There are many people in this country who spend a lot of money on private health care. It's the best health care in the world, by the way. But they want to do it. They worked hard to make money, and they want to do it. Under her, you're not going to have private health care plans anymore. And you can be a wealthy person or a middle-income person, and you want to spend on a really good plan, better than a government plan could be, far better. And you're not going to be allowed. You're all going to be thrown into a communist system. It's a communist system. You're going to be thrown into a system where everybody gets health care. You wait for your doctor like 10 months, 12 months, 11 months. You got to see some of these plans, how they work in other countries.
I know it's a really cheap gotcha, but who in chat wants to hear Donald Trump asked, what is the definition of communism? What do you think his answer would be? He'd be like, well, there's many different definitions over the years. I don't want to share my favorite definition of communism because there's so many of them.
Graceful. So private health care is gone. She wants it out. Now, she could change on that. Most of the job creation has gone to migrants. In fact, I've heard that substantially more than beyond the number of 100%. It's a much higher number than that, but
it's higher than 100%?
The government hasn't caught up with that yet, but virtually right now, as of the time they did this, virtually 100% of the net job creation in the last year has gone to migrants.
How would it be higher?
Harris gave work permits.
It's anywhere from like 90% to like 180%, somewhere around that range.
Social Security numbers to more than 3 million illegal immigrants to steal jobs from Americans. So think of that. And, you know, they're having a lot of problems with Social Security. I'm going to be the one to save Social Security, but they're having a lot of problems with Social Security because under their system of putting all of
authoritarian tendencies, I'm going to point them out when I see them. You guys all know this authoritarian tendency to act like you are the only one that can solve the problems of a country. The courts are rigged, the elections are rigged, the institutions, the FBI, the DOJ, it's all rigged. Donald Trump is the one who's going to somehow restore Social Security and restore our democratic norms. It's an authoritarian tactic.
these people into it, it's going to blow up and fail. If she's elected, Social Security will fail. It'll be a blow-up like you've never seen before.
Like we've never seen before.
Bankruptcy of the entire system, probably the nation itself.
God, is anyone else so sick of his speech patterns? Like, I'm so sick of hearing this guy say that things have never been how they've been before, or whatever he says. It's so annoying.
You don't have to imagine what a Kamala Harris presidency would be because you're living through that nightmare right now, and it is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. And you're going to stop inflation, but we're going to have a crash, and we're going to have a crash like a 1929 crash if she gets in.
He's
You saw
itching
a gentleman
for it. He wants to
yesterday
crash.
who got up, one of the top analysts in the world, frankly, and said that if Trump isn't elected, he predicts, and he's predicting you'll have a stock market crash like 1929. He also said the only time and the only reason the stock market has gone up, even though it had some bad moments recently.
Sorry, that's on the end of the... That's not my fault.
I think we'll take a substantial lead. You saw the polls come out today. We're leading in most of the polls, but you'll have a... I have a lot of friends over there. So I don't think they're reporters, however, are they?
This is the stock market that's about to be a historic... This is the historic crash that we've been facing because of Kamala. Look at this. It literally had a 2% correction, and people that have never... Donald Trump must have a fundamental lack of understanding of the stock market if this is his big crash. This is just a one-year chart. Back to the...
Reporters. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. When I left office, I handed Kamala and crooked Joe Biden a surging economy with no inflation.
He did not. No, he did not.
The mortgage rate was around 2%.
You want to talk about a stock market crash or the economy crashing or just, I guess, the top 500 companies in America? Who was president in March of 2020 again? Can you guys remind me in chat? Who was president when the stock market, dropped by 30%? And then who was president as it recovered and hit all-time highs? Back to the live stream. Sorry.
Economists are laughing. They can't even believe this is happening to our country. And she wants to change a free enterprise type country into a communist type country. That's what she knows. She's considered far more radical than Bernie Sanders. That's all you have to know. Far more radical. And
By
she
who?
picked somebody
Who says
that's
that?
far more radical than Bernie Sanders. He approved a bill recently, tampons in boys' bathrooms. He wants tampons in boys' bathrooms.
Who cares?
It's
Mind your
terrible.
own damn business.
It's terrible, but that's the person that she picked. Surprising.
What? Sorry, I just can't fathom this. What is terrible about that? Number one, mind your own damn business, to cite Tim Walz. But number two, genuinely, who cares? Is this supposed to win some voters over? Who's the swing voter that's like, January 6th left a bad taste in my mouth, but tampons in boys' bathrooms, it's just so odd.